Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And oh fuck, is this a woke podcast?
I'm Shaun Collins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Imagine if this is somebody's first episode.
They hear that, they're like, wait, is it?
Is it? We gotta check! Oh god!
It's this episode that presumably about some type of queer anime.
Yeah.
Is this a woke? I was hoping they would tear. I heard this guy tears anime apart, and granted, thus far during Pride, I have.
It's very rare for you not to, my guy. Pride or not.
Oh man, but I don't know, man. It felt like this month was branded as the one that wasn't going to be like that, and then it was.
If anything, no. This is the month that perfectly got your hopes up on 3 separate occasions, and then confused and dumbfounded you on 3 separate occasions for 3 different reasons.
All right, we've been disappointed by squandered queer potential thrice thus far this month. Can we break that terrible streak?
Well, Rem, that's going to be up to you and your perspective, really.
Oh God, that means
because
no.
Rem, I gave you a break with something easy. We're going back to something hard.
Just how I like it.
Rock hard, you might say.
Oh yeah.
Because Rem, so far this month we've talked about men loving men, we've talked about women loving women, and we've talked about just like tangential representation with like a little bit of gender stuff thrown in.
We've talked about bears, we've talked about body horror abominations.
And we've talked about Super Saiyans.
Poison Super Saiyans.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Rem, we're going back to weird, and I wanted to end Pride Month talking about something that's a little more on the gender spectrum, as it were.
All right.
But I got a lot of requests to do some great trans representation in terms of like people figuring out their own gender identity, how they want to be identified, and a lot of those types of stories and tropes that we've seen before. And I had so many that I was, quite frankly, struggling. And so I was like, okay, maybe I can pivot and do something else. Maybe I can pivot to an anime that a lot of people wanted us to cover for Pride Month that also had the interesting caveat of a bunch of people say that it is explicitly not queer, which automatically like raised my suspicions and heckles. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can do that. And then I watched a couple episodes of it. And I thought, we can definitely do this because this anime is very, very much repressed queer coded. And a lot of queer people enjoy it. But it doesn't quite hit that gender gap, which I was kind of hoping for, to kind of give like the full spectrum of, LGBTQ plus identities. So I was like, okay, well, hey, this is a great thing for next year. We can talk about it. It'll be a nice soft open. And also it gives me a chance to actually go through and watch the entire thing so I can have a more informed opinion, because it was like a 60-episode anime.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's like, I need to give this the respect it's due.
I'm sure the weebs will understand which one you're talking about, so look forward to that next year.
Hey, man, 2 girls with the same name. That's all I need to say. They were roommates, the anime, my guy.
Okay, sure.
But, lots of comp het stuff, which, is interesting to talk about during Pride Month. No. So instead, I was like, well, what can I do that is completely different from that and also quite different from what we've covered so far while still being a little weird? How about this? Non-binary people made out of gemstones.
I mean, all right, so there's like one show that fits this category, to my knowledge.
Is there, Rem? I'm so surprised. Tell me, what show do you think that is?
I think Steven Universe? But
Rem, that's an American cartoon. What are you talking about?
It's my confusion.
Sorry?
It doesn't seem like the kind of thing we hit. And don't get me wrong, I'm not even like wildly familiar, but I'm pretty sure if we're talking about non-binary gemstones, that's the one.
Interesting. Fascinating. Yeah, no, what the fuck are you talking about? I've never seen Steven Universe. What?
Is there...
The audacity.
Is there another non-binary?
It's not even
gemstone?
Technically anime, Rem. Like,
okay, all right. Wait, what non-binary gemstone anime are we covering, Shaun?
Oh well, I will say though, we did get some requests to cover it during this Pride Month. We got a good handful of it, and just to like not many, but like 3 or 4 people were like, "Hey, I know it's not technically anime, but if you wanted to show Rem Steven Universe so that you guys can talk about it, we think that would be fun and neat." And I'm like, Probably not, but sure. I watched a couple like episodes and a couple compilations of it just to see, and I was like, oh yeah, no, this show is queer as fuck and tries to, make people understand that queer stuff is fine and normal. But also most of that stuff takes place like by season like 4 and 5 I read, and that is pretty deep.
Yeah, it's a bit much of a commitment.
Yeah, I think the first like real like blatant stuff that even the youngest of kids could recognize is like in like season 2 or 3 with the character Garnet, which look, there are some allegories in this show and that show that are fascinating to think about, and I might do a full watch through to see if we can get like a bonus episode out of it. But yeah, no, that's not what we're talking about. No, Rem, what we're talking about today is an anime that's been heavily requested since we started the podcast, and I didn't really realize that it had gendered representation until I sat down and watched it and got all the emails requesting it. Rem, we are going to be talking about Hoseki no Kuni, or Land of the Lustrous.
Okay, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Right now, what I'm just picturing is like Sailor Moon, but more queer and rock.
Okay. Does that include a post-apocalyptic Earth?
It didn't. But
so you're already off.
Hear me out. All right. Derail the podcast for a bit.
I mean, it's the last episode of Pride Month. I think we're allowed a little bit of derailment.
I got a pitch.
What's your pitch, Rem?
Title: The Last Magical Girl.
Okay.
Post-apocalyptic wasteland. All right.
Okay.
And the titular character is the last magical girl. She failed to save humanity, and the world ended. Armageddon, apocalypse. Maybe there's still like pockets of certain people. She feels the great burden of having failed her mission everywhere she looks, right? And even as she's helping people from these scenarios, she feels that crippling guilt that if she had succeeded, then she wouldn't need to be helping them in that situation, right?
I mean, that is kind of some of the Madoka Magica movies, if I'm being honest with you. Not exactly, but there is some overlap there.
But adding a full post-apocalyptic flair. I want this shit like barren. I want this to feel a little bit like vibes-wise old school anime where they couldn't afford to put much in the background, and so you often had barren landscapes, you know what I mean?
Like
that, but
early DBZ is what you're saying, like the big old wastelands, or Namek with its like completely open spaces.
Yeah, that, but like more deliberate.
I see. I mean, hey, I'd watch it, but that's just because I like a good magical girl show. Especially
if like a lot of the powers are like relatively useless now,
yeah.
or if like the powers are fueled by the love and care for her friends, but all of her friends are dead. So she has just very muted powers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it'd be so good.
I think it'd be great. I'd like that quite a bit. But no, that's not what we're working with. No, Rem, this is another weird anime.
Oh, hell yeah, bring me that freak shit. I'm so done with the cookie cutter nonsense that somehow...
You had one this month.
I would argue that unfortunately, the summer Hikaru died ended up being far more cookie cutter than it ever should have been.
At any rate. But yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about this. Where the gender stuff comes in is that basically every character is non-binary. Like all the gems refer to themselves as they, them. Some of them have like more femme and more mass presentations, but like as far as pronouns are concerned, it's they, them through and through.
All right, now with these gems, there's a scale, all right?
Okay.
Literal rock, rock entity, rock person with rock traits, person who says they are a rock.
You're seeing how much bear we're working with here is what you're trying to figure out.
Yes, I'm just seeing where on the scale we're talking about here.
They are humanoid.
Okay.
But they are all like translucent gemstone people. So their whole bodies are stones, essentially.
Okay.
So they are very humanoid and have like all the benefits of that feature. But you can very clearly tell that, like, hey...
Do they mostly just look like pretty anime people?
Kind of.
All right. A minor demerit against it, but we'll push through.
Uh-huh. The point being is that, what is the premise of this show, Rem? It's hard to explain. The world is fucked. That's a great place to start. The world was destroyed by several meteors, and Essentially, humans, not really much of a thing anymore. We've got sentient rock people that are gemstones that are grown and born for the specific purpose of fending off the aliens that are trying to invade the planet and turn them into jewelry.
Oh, okay.
That's as clean as of an explanation as I can give you, Rem.
But of course, couldn't be anything else.
No. And our main character is Phospholite, or Phosphophylite, sorry. There's a lot of syllables in there.
Yeah, fucking rookie.
Hey, man. And they are, they're just kind of like the lowest rank of all gems, as it were, because, Ren, do you know what Phosphophylite is?
No.
It's kind of a fragile green gem,
Okay.
generally speaking. But yeah, and then it's a show about emotions, connections, and, trying not to be shattered. Standard stuff.
Sure. All right.
It's very strange. It's very weird. People wanted to cover it, us to cover it for ages because of how odd it is. And the other thing that I do need to point out is it is primarily a CG show as well. Be dishonest with me not to mention that, but a lot of people actually...
Theoretically, it can still be good. Theoretically, it can still be good.
A lot of people praise the CG for this show, especially for 2017 when this first came out.
I mean, CG can be done well. It's just, the vast majority of times it shows up in anime,
well,
it is used deliberately to cut corners, and it shows.
Yeah, it's either cutting corners or budget nonsense or things, but CG usually does really well when they stylize the hell out of it. And this is a fairly stylized show. So yeah. Is this the best way to end Pride Month? Who can say?
Our listeners will definitely let you know.
Hey man, no matter what I do, they get mad at me. And I only cry sometimes at night about it.
Hey, don't use that as an excuse. Hey, there's nothing I could have done that they would have been happy with.
Genuinely, there isn't, Reb.
I needed to show them like Nazi tanks or some shit, They would have been mad either way. It's like, that doesn't mean that there's not better and worse options, you son of a bitch.
Rem, I'm telling you right now, no matter what I do, like...
He's trying to deflect blame. Get him.
I'm not trying to deflect blame. I'm trying to give people what they want. The problem is that so many people want different things. Like, golly. Like, I've already had some people be like, why did we watch the Weird Bear anime? I was like, well, because people wanted it! And I thought it was a good idea for a weird episode. Oh, God. But the point is, we've got gems, we've got aliens, we've got metaphors upon metaphors upon metaphors. Let's see if they stack up. Let's
see if we can end Pride Month on a high note, baby.
Or, Land of the Lustrous. Let's go straight tell me, Rem, are you feeling in connection with your inner gem right now? Or was the CG a little bit too much for you to handle?
God, I wish we had watched Steven Universe. Man, that would have been great.
You know nothing about Steven Universe, though.
I know, but it can't be worse.
Oh, God.
It can't be worse than this. I regret to inform you and everybody else that unfortunately, every Pride anime has been bad this year. With this one having arguably the least redeeming qualities based on what we've seen, which is rough. Let's start with the positive, shall we?
All right.
I like shiny things.
Yes, you do.
So, the shiny hair, and when their bodies get chipped, their shiny insides. That's neat.
Anything else, bud?
I'm looking. I think that's it.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well.
And then I suppose the CG doesn't look terrible.
Okay.
The CG is like good for CG anime, but not in the realm of just like good. Like if it still has a lot of that CG clunkiness. Better than most CG in anime, but it's still there. I conceptually like one plot point in episode 5. So
okay, yeah, no, this is
So there we go. Now let's talk about the rest of the show, shall we?
Oh boy, this is gonna be a doozy of an episode, I can already tell.
My concern is that, especially given my critiques of the previous ones, this may have been your attempt to end Pride strong, and in which case this is like a beloved show that I will be tearing apart.
Who can say,
so
Rob?
That also, hey, I it's possible that through my review I might misgender some rocks. All right? I'm not gonna try to. It won't be intentional. but it's possible I might misgender some rocks.
I mean, defaulting.
For what it's worth, I do not think they would care that much, but nonetheless.
I mean, they are all pretty chill as far as non-binary is concerned.
Yeah, it's less like an active decision and more so just like they wouldn't really understand gender in the first place, so they would just sort of shrug. So we meet Phosphophylite, the protagonist. They're in a field, and we learn that they're fragile, and a couple other rocks end up fighting what we learn are the Lunarians, and those are Buddhist sky cloud warriors.
Yeah, that's pretty close, yeah.
Yeah. Which, vaguely interestingly designed. They tend to attack in the same way each time, but whatever. We learn that Foss is... They're just kind of bad at everything that you need to be a rock, which is just fighting. It's just being able to defend that, I guess, is their whole livelihood, and Foss is trash at it because they're fragile. The Master shows up and banishes the Lunarians, but oh no, in so doing, Foss gets cracked accidentally, but it's fine because they can just put them back together. Foss is put in charge of compiling the encyclopedia, which is infinitely less relevant than you think, considering how much they bring it up. It is somehow both the driver of any plot point and also entirely irrelevant. You may think, oh, is it okay? Compiling an encyclopedia, it's sort of like Pokemon rules, right? You may fill up that Pokedex, learn about the world. It's an excuse. It's an excuse to give ham-fisted exposition in a less ham-fisted way. They don't even use it for that because it isn't like, oh, hey, meaningfully learn about the world. Because Phosphophylite, they aren't inherently curious or intelligent or insightful. They're none of these things, right? Mm-hmm. They're just there. And so every time they're sent to like do something about it, they stare at grass and they're like, I don't know what to write about. I don't know how to compile an encyclopedia.
There is a lot of that, yeah.
And you might think, all right, and then they build some tension. Thus far, 5 episodes in, not really. It's just they will struggle, and then occasionally someone will be like, hey, the encyclopedia. Like, make them curious, make them have gumption so that they're trying and failing, right? But they never file a report for the encyclopedia. They never even... They're around, but they're not doing anything. They're not making observations. Surely you would think it'd be reasonable, if anything, just for a nice little, like, have a montage where you give some exposition about the world through Foss figuring out about it, right? It feels like an easy, and I'm going to level with you, not even particularly impressive route to go, but they don't even do that. So some of the other rocks need to be put together. We get some exposition about inclusions and reassembly. All it really amounts to, they can be put together. They can be put back together. That's the important bit. They spend they spend a bit of time in the weeds with that, but that's all it amounts to. We also get more exposition about the encyclopedia. We learn about Cinnabar, who's one of the rocks, and but they're a poison rock, so they have Night Watch where they're banished, and the Lunarians, despite being moon people, do not come at night. You might think that's when they come extra, but they don't come at all during the night. And we get some exposition about Cinnabar's poison, which is largely proven wrong immediately. We're told Cinnabar's poison, it's extremely dangerous because if you touch it, then the memories you have in your shards will be lost. And it sounds like a very drastic thing, but Foss chats with Cinnabar, gets drenched in poison, and there's no lasting effects. It's fine. So... So I guess it's less of a concern than one might think.
Well, there's things.
Well, I'm sure at some point it'll be like, no, but now you're even more drenched in it, right? And then they'll decide that it's relevant. You just think, given the exposition we just had, and immediately getting drenched in it, that you might want to make it a more impactful moment. Right. You might think that might be a good idea narratively. Cinnabar is edgy and hates being on the Night Watch and just basically wants to meet the Lunarians, kind of just to surrender to them, to be swept up away by them, and just like it's how it goes, right? And Foss is like, hey, I'll help you out. I'll find something for you. Now, lovely listeners, that little interaction between Cinnabar and Phosphophylite, did that feel extremely meaningful? Or did it feel like just kind of a thing that happened? Because, spoiler alert, I think this is the last time they interact in these 5 episodes, and yet, this is one of the most developed relationships in the show thus far, to the point that later on, Foss is going to be willing to sacrifice their existence, vaguely for Cinnabar. But this is the last time they've interacted before that happens, episodes later.
I mean, clearly it was very impactful, and you're just underselling things, Rem.
I wish that I was. They have 2 conversations in episode 1, and that's all the talking they do. And even then, I would argue their second conversation already feels a bit forced, where it's like, Phosphophylite just being like, I'm gonna find something for you, Cinnabar. I'll find something that you can do and that, like, you're good at or whatever, right? And it's like, oh, okay. Even before this dramatic conversation, they've, like, briefly chatted once. So it's like, already that felt like a stretch. And so then later, when nothing else is added onto it, when they stretch it further, I can't help but feel like maybe you should have done a bit more character development, more relationship building, just fucking something. And I cannot emphasize, it's not only is this relationship woefully lacking, this relationship is one of the most developed relationships in the show thus far. Keeping in mind, they had 2 conversations in episode 1.
Well, you watched half the show. Surely there must be more, Rem.
There are, I guess, 2 relationships that are vying for more developed, and we'll touch on those. It's a very low bar to clear, and these would barely clear it. Anyway, and in this episode, like, the Lunarians actually showed up, and Cinnabar soaked them in poison, and that's how Foss got soaked in poison. It also, overall, a lot of the dialogue does feel, and I don't think that this is the case, but I would say it feels sort of like a crowdfunded show. And what I mean by that is it feels like the kind of show that makes assumptions of the audience's knowledge and doesn't consider how to then provide information to the audience. Like, we've gotten plenty of exposition dumps, but we also just have plenty of interactions that feel like we're missing out on the joke. Like, there's supposed to be development, but we're not privy to it. Like, they just assume we know and understand these characters on a deep level. The vast majority of the ensemble, it will just be a random character with a certain colored hair. They will show up, give like a very quirky line of dialogue where it feels like their shtick is something, but who knows what it is because they have not been introduced, and it's usually like their first and only line of dialogue so far. And then we'll never see them again. And I can't help but feel like maybe when you have, frankly, like over a fucking dozen rocks in this area, right? It could have helped to just see some groups interacting. God damn it. Mm-hmm. Just see people engaging with one another in a more meaningful way so that we get a sense of the group dynamics. I don't need the standard lazy shonen character exposition of a character popping up and then being like, this is who they are, this is their shtick, right? I don't need that. But show me the characters, let them interact, show me the dynamics between them, please. Don't just have them like pop in, give a real quirky line of dialogue, and I'm like, so what is their shtick? What's their bit? What are they? Like, I feel like I'm supposed to know, but this is the only time they've shown up. It's just so poorly constructed. Episode 2.
I can confirm that this is a manga adaptation, so it's not like a web manga or a Kickstarter type thing. No, this is just a adaptation of a manga that started in 2012, frame of
And
reference.
I assumed that it wasn't one of those things. I just wanted to sort of give that comparison and sort of emphasize what I mean when I say it feels like a crowdfunded thing. Often for stories and narratives that end up crowdfunded or things like that, they often can build hype by releasing like teasers or little glimpses into characters or lore or bits and bobs, right? And through those teasers to get people hyped about it, then when they construct the actual show or media, sometimes they forget that not everybody has consumed all of those teasers and has been just sort of like in the latent community from the get-go. So anybody coming into it who doesn't have those things ends up watching and being like, I'm sorry, who's this character? And all the super fans are like, oh, it's this character, don't you know? And it's like, no, because this is the only time they've shown up. And it's like, oh, but there's so much extra material about them. And it's like, yeah, but it's not in the show. It's not in what I have watched. and the show did nothing to communicate even a bit of that. So that's the kind of vibe I'm talking about.
I see.
Episode 2, we have more exposition about world lore that not particularly relevant.
I mean, it's relevant, to the overall world as a whole.
One could have thought that especially something like this, that's sort of like a mythological retelling or something, would have been great for Foss when studying the encyclopedia, right? Maybe they find a book, or maybe they find a sort of lore master who teaches them and then they write it down in the encyclopedia or something, right? That would have at least, once again, it's not even a great solution. It's just a better solution. It's a better bad solution. But we see that Foss doesn't really know what they're doing with the encyclopedia. They decide to go to Diamond to learn some new fighting techniques. But then, oh no, the Lunarians arrive. Diamond fights them off with a bunch of parries, but then loses their sword. But then Bort, who's the Black Diamond, they show up, and they're Diamond, but they're an even better Diamond. They're Ultra Diamond. First time we see Diamond, who's supposed to be the, like, I guess, second most impressive, they end up just disappointing, which, once again, strange introductions. But Bort, who's a super competent edgelord kind of character, they arrive, save the day. We learn Diamond is hard but fragile under impact, and Bort is tougher, and Diamond is generally jealous of Bort. Even though Diamond is supposed to be super impressive, they're insecure too. Oh, how deep. These are themes that could be interesting if there was good writing and characters. Unfortunately, there really ain't. Diamond and Bort, they're one of the more developed relationships. They're in the top 3.
That doesn't seem...
I've told you they're dynamic.
Oh, that's... Yeah, when you put it like that, Rem,
I've shared their dynamic in their top 3. So the only other one is Diamond and Phosphophyllite, and it's just generally they like each other and are nice to each other. So there we go. Those are the top 3.
So that's...
top 3 most developed relationships.
Halfway through the show?
Halfway through the show. I really wish there was more, and I'll be honest, you would have to look pretty far down for fourth. I guess fourth is Slug Princess and her brother that we'll meet later. They have one brief scene where they're reunited, and that gives them 4th place. Congratulations.
I mean, I can at least say that there's more relationships that are developed as the show goes on, and like especially with our protagonist Foss, but
I think we can agree it really shouldn't take more than 5 episodes to at least establish some.
Or
at very
5
least,
out of 12. Yeah.
I can understand if you're like, hey, we don't want to focus like on all the relationships. We want to focus on just a couple and go really deep into them. But they haven't done that either. These are very shallow relationships we have been presented with thus far. Sometimes the show will pretend they're deep, but we have no reason to believe that.
Have you considered the themes of humanity as a whole that they're trying to present in the show? How these clearly unhuman creatures are trying to cope with the idea of humanity as a whole with their relationships and how they interact with the world?
I don't believe that has been... It's maybe been lightly touched on. I don't believe it's been meaningfully explored in these 5 episodes.
I mean, might be explored a little later.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean... One may wonder why the first 5 episodes even exist.
It's look.
If the first 5 episodes have hardly accomplished fucking anything, maybe it was the wrong starting point for the narrative.
Look.
Maybe you should have started the story somewhere else. Maybe when writing Lord of the Rings, maybe they shouldn't have had an 800-page book all about a random, like, we'll say a random hobbit's grandpa who, I'm trying to pick, I know there's Bilbo. Is Bilbo related to either of the main ones?
Bilbo is a elder family member of Frodo.
Okay, so we'll say, like, we don't need an 800-page little prequel story about Samwise's grandpa and how he was just a homebody and how he just sort of relaxed and how he never had any deep aspirations in life, and it just goes into detail about him building his hut for 800 pages, and then it gets to Lord of the Rings. Like, we don't need that.
I love how desperately trying to pull together a Lord of the Rings comparison it just genuinely shows how little you know about the original Lord of the Rings.
Look, I'm just trying to get on your level, Shaun. I'm trying to be hip with the kids.
You know about the Silmarillion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now imagine if the Silmarillion was just tacked on at the very beginning of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if it was like just the start of it. You just opened with the Silmarillion, and then I imagine a lot more people would be like, yeah, I'll be honest, like, some of us find it interesting, but you can probably skip it.
I mean, to put it into terms you might understand, that'd be like trying to go for something along the lines of Santa Claus is coming to town, and you put the whole Bible in front of him. That is the comparison you just made, essentially. Like all of the stuff in the Bible, and then a story that is relevant to stuff that may or may not have happened in the Bible.
Yeah. The point being, there are proper places to start the story, and usually it's when relevant shit is happening. And if you can go 5 episodes without much relevant shit happening, there's a better way to construct it. Anyway, more Lunarians attack, but oh no, the master is napping! And Bort, once again, just fights off Lunarians, and it's pretty easy. But a big shell falls, and then inside the shell is a slime snail, and it eats Foss, and oh no, it melts rocks on contact, and so Foss melts. Okay, we see that it seems like Foss sort of like cracks into the slime shell after they melt. Diamond and Bort, they attack the snail, and it shrinks into this sort of cow pig snail slime little slug thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so Diamond gets convinced that the little slime is Foss's new form, which doesn't make sense for a million reasons. And I was kind of willing to go with it, right? And being like, oh, okay, maybe I've misunderstood. Because like there's a lot of phosphophylite on the shell. Just like it ain't subtle, right? It is large and embedded in the shell. And so, some naive people may think that you would just look at that and be like, oh, we can just grab those shards from the shell and like put them back together. But of course, phosphophylite melted, so maybe melted got in the brain, and are now this little slug. And Diamond is certainly convinced of it, so it's like, okay, sure, I guess. Diamond goes to all of the other rocks and tells them that Foss is the slug, where the others do not give a single fuck. They all decide, hey, well, maybe it's even better. It's probably better off for that piece of shit, am I right? So they're all, I guess, just monsters. I guess they're all assholes. Later on, Diamond will blame Foss for this and imply that, like, maybe if you, like, were more friendly, then anybody would give a shit. But here's the thing. Foss, while they've been incompetent and, like, a bit obnoxious, they don't have enough character for it to be meaningfully antagonistic. Like, Cinnabar is a bit antagonistic. Why the fuck is everybody hostile to Foss? Why the fuck does everybody fucking hate Foss? Like, Foss, it would be like showing up and having just like an entire group of people be like, white bread, fuck you. White bread, the most despicable thing. Oh my God, I can't even imagine eating that. And it's like, look, I understand if like you don't vibe with white bread, but like, how can you be offended by white bread? How can you be? It's just. How can that be too much for your palate, dog? Like, I don't understand.
I suppose it just depends on how much autism we're working with here.
And once again, I don't know what we're supposed to take from that, because it's like, oh, it's possible Foss has like either truly died or transformed into a slug, and just nobody gives a shit, and that's supposed to like not be a major cause for concern. I don't think we're supposed to morally impugn any of these characters for being utter assholes. Not a single one gives even the slightest bit of a shit. Very weirdly constructed. And once again, it's not like we know these layered dynamics between them. For many of them, this is the first and possibly only time that they speak.
I mean, a lot of them do speak later on in the series, I could say that much.
Why the fuck? They speak in the first 5 episodes. Why would you have any character's first line and only line in 5 episodes be the equivalent of like, nah, they can get fucked, dog? Like, why? And you might think, oh, because like, if you're trying to emphasize how callous a certain character is, but it's just everybody. It's fucking everybody. So a very strange storytelling once again that is apropos of fuck all. And so, okay, sure. Then eventually Diamond goes to Cinnabar, tells them about it. Cinnabar is like, oh, well, you know, snails eat rocks to improve their shells. Which, hey, y'all. Snails do not eat rocks. I don't know who I need to tell this to. Snails, they don't eat rocks. They will sort of like lightly dust rocks to get a bit of calcium from them, right? If anything, it's not that they eat rocks; it's that they smooch rocks.
Yeah, they give
right?
a little rock kiss.
Yeah, get a little rock kiss for some extra calcium.
Like a lot of people want to do to various rocks in various media. You know how it goes.
but they don't just eat rocks. Second of all, you know who knows why Cinnabar is a snail expert of all fucking things, right? But you know what would be reasonable if somebody who was building an encyclopedia was able to use niche knowledge that they have figured out through careful observation that they thought would be useless but turns out to be relevant. That kind of character would be the perfect character to provide this niche snail information. But they're the one who got fucking eaten! Anyway, they're like, they eat rocks, but then the rocks go into the shell. And so then they realize, oh shit! So maybe all of the very obvious phosphophylite crystals in the shell are phosphophyllite. Who'd have fucking thunk it? Which then makes me feel double stupid, because that's what I assumed initially. And then was like, oh, I guess I was wrong. I guess I'm the dumbass here, and Voss is the slug now. But then it's like, oh no, it was the obvious thing. And I cannot emphasize, it's not subtle. It's not like, oh, it's a green shell, so you can sort of miss it. No! It's a plain beige pink shell with just a startling amount of bright green crystal on it. And so they take the gems from the shell and put Foss back together again, and Foss can hear the slug talking, and it's like, oh my god, they have a psychic connection now. Okay. 3 episodes in, I can't help but wonder at this point, what the fuck are we doing? What's the point of any of this? Where are we going? What are we trying to do here?
Would you believe that we're going to delve into more existential dread and the ideas of what it means to be human?
I think it really should be happening already. You know what would help with exploring the existential dread? Good writing, good characters, relationships that have any investment or depth. Those things would really help. Because if I'm writing a story, right, and I just have a character here, let me tell you all listeners the story.
Okay, I can't wait.
A man sits down. I don't know how to live life anymore. I don't know what it's all about. Was that a good story? Now, it touched on themes of existential dread and ennui, but you may notice a few missing ingredients to that story that make it compelling or interesting or even a relevant exploration of those themes. You may think that we could explore those themes better, perhaps, if it had a stronger narrative, stronger character, if it explored the themes in a more compelling way, if the writing was at all good. You might think those things. You might have those ideas in your little noggin. And once again, who knows? Maybe episode 6, we just have Foss face the camera, be like, psych, it's a different show. We jokes on you, different writers from this point forward. What a ruse. And maybe that'll happen. But, I'd be skeptical. And even if they start really elaborating on all of this after episode 5, given the quality of the writing so far, because, so much of the writing is just, like, bad, quirky, miscellaneous nonsense. Often, like, in a tonally inconsistent way, where it'll be, like, something fucked up and dark will happen, and then they'll just be like, oh, doy, right? It'll be sort of like the Flanderization of the worst parts of, like, Joss Whedon Marvel-esque, that just happened, like, bullshit like that. Yeah. Like, that, so often we get vibes like that, where just something intense will happen, and then a character, sometimes that we have never seen before, will just throw something quirky out there, and we'll be like, okay, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, I just want development and depth, and in 5 episodes, it has not been providing. Anyway, episode 5, the Master wakes up, and the Master talks to the Slug, and the Slug is horny. The Slug is horny, especially for the Master, but also for the other rocks. Oh my god, the Slug is horny. Foss asks the Master about Cinnabar, being like, hey, is there anything else for Cinnabar? And Master's like, not really. And Foss is like, oh. The Slug is like, hey, Foss, let's go to the sea. I want the sea. And, it's probably good for you too. And it could, like, help Cinnabar in the encyclopedia, or who gives a shit. And so Foss is like, okay, goes to the doctor for some resin. But then the Master's like, no, you cannot go to the sea. But then the Slug is like, but I want to return home to the sea. So Foss is like, okay, we'll go to the sea. Also, at one point, the Slug's strength is fading, and Foss is like, what does death mean? In very natural dialogue, and we get the good old lazy cliche of death is what makes life meaningful, which I've talked before on the podcast. I, first of all, don't think that that's a legitimate argument, and second of all, narratively, I don't think it is compelling or insightful or novel. It's just if you're like, hey, we have immortals, what kind of existential theme should we talk about? And if you're like, well, we could talk about, like, death is what makes life meaningful, so how do you find meaning in the absence of death? You're not adding anything to the conversation, I assure you. You simply are not.
If anything, I've seen a lot of, like, solid stories with villains who that is their ideals and philosophies, and, like, stories that try to highlight, hey, that's not great. That's
like I mean, it's like, so cliche and lazy and uninteresting, and once again, I also just think fundamentally wrong. It's simply not very compelling. And if this is the kind of this is like one of the biggest highlights thus far of them exploring existential themes, and it's done in a cliche, clumsy, and shallow manner. So what hope do I have when they do it more so later that it won't be cliche and shallow like this? This is what they're displaying. This is what they're demonstrating. So I have no reason to believe look, you're showing up and you're like, hey, this is Mr. Piss Pants from fucking Make Some Noise, all right?
Look, I accidentally referred to Josh Rubin in a previous episode, so it's only...
there we go. And you're like, here's Mr. Piss Pants. I think you'd make a great governor. And I ask, why do you think he'd be a great governor? And you're like, he's really smart. And meanwhile, he's going around, oh, I just pissed myself right in doing that. And I'm like, I can take your word for it, but based on everything I'm seeing, it really does not seem to be the case. I am not seeing any qualities that make Mr. Piss Pants a good governor. And in fact, I I'm seeing a lot of things that lead me to believe otherwise. When he shows up and says, oh, what if a policy was for us all to piss ourselves? Like, I don't think that would be good policy. And you're like, no. Like, when he actually would pass policy, it'd be good. It would actually be good policy. And I'm like, I struggle to believe you.
That's it. I feel like this analogy is a little too real right now, bud. I keep thinking about algae-filled pools, and that's not really doing much for my mental health at the moment, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh, fucking hell. So, they go to the sea, Foss and the Slug, who is just like generally called the Shelled Ruler. So Foss and Ruler, they go, and the Slug transforms and becomes a princess octopus. And we get exposition about humans and separated into soul, flesh, and bone. And the flesh is the slugs, and the soul is the Lunarians, and the bone is the rocks. Diamond notices Foss is gone. And is like, oh shit, maybe we should do something for that. The ruler, she's like, hey, here we are, we're here, and I have somebody who I care deeply about, and it's my brother. And then the Lunarians show up and they attack and they break apart Foss in the ocean, and it turns out the ruler is just here to exchange Foss for her brother. Dun dun dun! What a dramatic plot twist. I sure hope that it doesn't become wildly irrelevant moments later in episode 5. I sure hope that one of the only narrative developments that has occurred isn't rendered completely mute almost immediately in the next episode. Anyway, next episode, oh my god, it's rendered almost immediately mute. So they're...
I believe the word is moot.
Shut the fuck up.
I mean, they're not just not talking anymore.
Language is overrated.
You have been yelling for about 30 minutes now.
I'm going delirious. I'm going delirious about rocks.
And we are in a situation right now where our state is currently on fire, so we might not be getting the best oxygen to your brain. So you are wasting some valuable brain cells shouting this much. So there is a genuine concern for your health at this point.
I can't wait to bring in that smoky air and just like give a good huff of it. So they do the trade for Foss, but then the Lunarians apparently are like, nah, but maybe we want more of them. And the ruler's like, Foss is all I got. And the Lunarians are like, well, we don't think we'll return your brother. But then her brother just escapes anyway. And it kind of seems like that may have been an option the whole time. So I don't know what we were doing here. The brother escapes, transforms, easily defeats the Lunarians. Then the royal slugs are like, hey, maybe we could use Foss for other negotiations. I don't know if they explained what the other negotiations even are.
Not episode.
Yeah, they're just like, we can further negotiate with the Lunarians since this one worked so well. Since this negotiation worked so well, I'm sure we can do it again.
I'm having a flash to Phantom Menace where they're like, oh, it seems the negotiations have failed. When the negotiations were there putting 2 Jedi in a room and attempting to gas them. Like, it's, it's not exactly... The negotiations weren't, like, super...
Part of the deal, baby.
Super well thought out to begin with.
So they're like, we could trade Foss and maybe even Cinnabar. And Foss is like, it's okay if you trade me, just whatever you do, don't do anything to Cinnabar. Once again, I cannot emphasize, it's been 4 episodes. They have not interacted. Cinnabar and Foss have had 2 conversations, both in episode 1. And they have not interacted since.
They have more after this episode, kind of.
But surely, if a character is being like, look, if you must kidnap me and send me to the divine devils of Lunarians, I accept that fate. But whatever you do, just for the love of God, don't do anything to my dear Cinnabar. It's like, why?
Look, man,
there's nothing between y'all.
Look, romance is hard between gems.
Look, if this were treated as a more meaningful romance between Foss and Cinnabar, I'd be looking at it, I'd be like, Foss, you you got an issue. You got an issue. They have shown no indication of being into you whatsoever. You need to move on. Like, you cannot be acting like this. So yeah, really weird scene. But they decide, actually, we're not going to negotiate, Foss. We decided we don't feel like it. And Foss is like, I forgive you. Why? They plan to have you, by all means, murdered and kidnapped by your greatest enemy. And
quite literally turned into jewelry, kind of, like.
Yeah, and considered threatening, apparently, the one you care most about, and you're just immediately like, I forgive you. Why? There's no meaningful established bond. It's not like we've seen a deep friendship between the ruler and Foss. Like, it just has not happened. And so, okay, forgiveness, I guess. The ruler brings Foss back to the shore. Others have been searching all around. Foss washes up to Cinnabar. The others just keep looking throughout the night, and I guess Cinnabar, because they're just such a loner, they're like 10 feet, I guess like 20 feet away from all the others, right? When Foss washes up. And everybody's like panic searching. And instead of just being like, over here, they carry them back into the sort of school castle thing. Everyone just searches into the night until one of them finds Foss just sort of there. But oh no, Foss has lost their legs. Shucks. But there's a couple of like quartz tusks that are there that were thrown in free of charge. So they're like, hey, maybe we can make this work. There's also a weird scene, like, when they're talking about this and being like, oh, it's so great that Foss is here, but also, like, oh, man, we were so worried. But then the Master shows up, and everybody runs. Everyone's like, oh, fuck, the Master's here. Oh, shit. Oh, my mother of God. Which I feel like we've just have not had, like, we're like, I don't know. The thing I know about the Master, they nap a lot. They nap big.
Yeah, but, I mean, they're awake. That's a big shock, Rem.
Well, and they've been awake for a little bit now. But yeah, and so it's like they're awake and they're coming, and just like everybody's like, oh fuck! And once again, it's like one of those moments that's treated seriously, where it's like, oh, Foss has finally returned. Oh my God, we were all so worried. Oh yikes! Zoinks! The Master's coming! Ah! Right, and throw a few quips there from characters we don't fucking know. It's a weird moment because they have not established much about any of the characters or the Master. So, okay, maybe the Master would be insanely pissed and take it out on all of their students that one of them was found. Maybe that is the case. And the Master, they yell at Foss very, very briefly, and that's about it. So once again, no idea what all that shit was about. And he's like, hey, no more encyclopedia. Okay. And it's like, you've lost your important duty of the encyclopedia. Okay, brother, whatever you say. I'll be honest, hasn't been too important so far. Like, it does not seem like a major loss, because it'd be one thing if Foss had really thrown themselves into it, felt like they were making meaningful progress, but it's been irrelevant. So this consequence feels largely irrelevant. But they replace Foss's legs with the quartz that was there, and it works. And Foss got new spirally legs, multi-material legs. And after getting used to them, they work and can run fast. And I kind of like the Frankensteining element. I think it could be interesting thematically and narratively. Not terribly original. I mean, off the rip, I imagine it's going to go some like vaguely cyberpunk direction with it, where it's just like altering a bit more and more, but in the process, you're losing yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Getting a little bit of that cyberpsychosis, except it's like rock psychosis, I guess.
Yeah. And like there's some lost memories. I think it would have been more interesting if they didn't just focus on the lost memories, because you have memories in the shards. So thus far, the consequence was just like, who I forgot one of your names, Jade. Oh, okay. And that was the memory in the legs. It was Jade's name. Once again, you could have done more with that if Foss was a more developed character, right? Then
I mean, it's only been 5 episodes, right? Surely.
Sure, it's only been the length of a full feature film, a lengthy feature film. And as we all know, there's not a single feature film that has ever established a character. It is impossible, unfortunately.
Yeah, nah, man. Just not enough time.
It's people always say it's the problem with movies is that they simply never have enough time to develop any character or relationship in the entire runtime. And so it's still a kind of interesting element. It feels very late in the game to introduce what seems like the most compelling thing they have is.
Yep.
Overall, I cannot emphasize the writing is so shallow and trite, and just like all the dialogue, it feels so amateurish. Overall, the show feels more like a tech demo than anything, where it's like, hey, pretty neat gem hair, huh? The gem hair is pretty neat, and sure, it is. It is.
What'd you think of the water, Rem, out of curiosity?
So when the water is still and sort of like more 2D, then it's fine, but there were times where they had like 3D shifting water, and that looked slimy and weird.
Okay, I just want to make sure to get that in there because one of the
it had a wrong viscosity that I did not like, but I think to my knowledge there was only one shot of the water.
Yeah, because we got an email for a request of this anime back in 2019, and that was or right after you first started commenting on water, and they wanted to make sure that you got your water comment in there. So if they're still listening to us, congratulations. There you go.
For the most part, the water is fine because it just looks and may be like that. I don't know enough to know whether this is like all CG or if it's CG with occasional like 2D backdrops.
It is primarily CG because the studio that is behind this is Studio Orange, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Studio Orange, and they are they're not a huge studio, right? They've only been around, they've been around since 2004, but they're kind of known for a lot of like their integration of CG. They're the guys who did Beastars, for example, if you remember Beastars.
When the water is still, it's fine. When it becomes turbulent, it's real bad.
Well, hey. Are there any other deep-seated thoughts or issues you have with the show right now, or do you think you've about covered it?
Yeah, I've covered it, brother. I'm just baffled that the writing is so bad. It's so poorly constructed. It's kind of in the category of like interesting ideas done poorly, like the rest of Pride Month has been. But if anything, even less, because this has not demonstrated nearly as much originality or potential. It's fallen into every cliche that it possibly could.
I see.
Yeah, just an actively bad anime. But I have to believe that you showed it to me because you thought it would be a pleasant capstone to the end of Pride Month, especially considering how Pride Month has gone so far, where I've been openly critical. I have to imagine that in the back of your mind, you were like, hey, let's give them a one that's been recommended and that I enjoy, that people enjoy, or that is well known for its quality, or some shit like that.
When did I say any of that?
It's just my assumptions.
I will say that I like the show more after I've watched all 12 episodes. But there's may or may not have been reasons that I've held off on showing this show to you for, our whole time doing this podcast together. Oh man, let me put it to you this way. You know what? Let's just ask. What do you think this is scored? Out of curiosity.
Okay, all right. Let's process. Let's try to process.
Yeah. No, break it down. Bearing in mind that most of the people that recommended the show probably have seen, the remaining 7 episodes.
It's notably pretty. Where if something is not just pretty but notably so, in this case with gemstone hair and whatnot, right? Then that is one of the single greatest point increases that the weeps can give. Because it's just more tangible, more immediate. CG, a minor debuff, usually would be a major debuff, but in this case it's a minor debuff because it's at least well done for CG. Story and characters, minor debuff, should be an extremely major debuff, should be an overwhelming debuff. It should crater it to the fucking ground. But the weebs don't think like that. The weebs... the weebs are like, Yeah, Foss and Cinnabar, they're so fucking tight. They're homies. They just met, had one conversation after they just met, and that's all we need. That's good character and relationship building right there. Let's see. I have to imagine that it's mid to low 7, but there's something in me that tells me that's not the case. That's where I'm gonna judge. But there's an awful something brewing within me that says that I'm greatly. And I guess people are gonna be like, especially if it tries to explore its themes a bit deeper later on. All it needs to do is like say one thing that resonates with people, and they'll be like, "Wow, it was so meaningful the whole way through." So I guess I'll give it a major buff there. I might just talk myself out of what. Okay, I'll give it. Instead of mid to low, I'll go mid, slightly high 7s. I'll say 7.68. Under the belief that it gets stronger later, but also being generally baffled that it could even be that high, and also there's an awful feeling. There's an awful feeling that it's gonna be higher.
Yeah, well, I can't confirm
Like,
it.
there's a feeling it'll be not just be higher, but much higher, but I cannot see a way to possibly justify that.
I mean, I can confirm that it does get better by the end. But yeah, so Rem, sorry, give me your guess one more time. 7.65.
5? Well, I don't remember exactly what I said. 7.6 something. 7.65.
7.65. Okay. At the time of this recording, 221,000 people have reviewed Land of the Lustrous. Those 221,000 ratings, it's sitting nice and pretty at 8.39.
Oh my god!
This is
Holy shit!
a wildly beloved show, Rem.
You out of your minds? Have you fucking
It's one of our
it?
most heavily requested niche shows.
Why?
Well, let me go for some of like the TLDRs for some of these reviews.
No, Shaun, you know what? Ignore the reviews. You, man to man. You tell me right fucking now. Based on what I've seen, all right? Because surely, if it's rated that high, it can't just be because, oh, the final 3 episodes are really fucking good. Because if you, even the weebs would recognize, if the first half of a show is absolute dog shit. So they must not believe that the first half of the show is absolute dog shit, right? They must disagree with all of the critiques that I have levied here. And so I need you man to man to tell me, in these first 5 episodes, tell me the value that people see. Tell me what the wow factor people in these first 5 episodes that people are resonating with and being like, wow, that's really impressive. Wow, that really sticks with me. Wow, I really care about these elements for these reasons. Tell me.
So, I'm trying to think of how to say it. The thing that people seem to really resonate about with this show genuinely comes from the idea of identity and the identity between Cinnabar and Foss by the end. And I'm going to level with you, Rem. Not to mention mixed with the dread of things and trying to figure out. I think it's very much the thing that people resonate with is it forces them to. There are bits that make you look at yourself a little bit more. Whether or not it's done super well in this show, though, I can't really say.
Episode 1, they meet. Episode 1, they have a chat where Foss promises to fix Cinnabar's life. That's all the conversations they've had. And also, it's emphasized, apparently Foss is like 300 years old. And so apparently in 300 years, Foss has never interacted with Cinnabar before.
Yeah, so, long story short, Rem,
Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
People made connections with it by the time it finished.
I understand that the show thinks that Foss and Cinnabar's relationship is something.
Yeah, from my perspective, I don't feel it either, man. Like, I've seen the whole thing. I'm like, oh man, this does get better by the end. But at the same time, it's like, oh god, I can't really justify showing you this whole show in one sitting because it doesn't really make up for the fact that the first half of this show is just a huge nothing burger. It is. There are things to genuinely enjoy in the back half of things, but not.
Like, I'm skimming through right now, and I can't think of a properly meaningful scene.
In the first 5 episodes, there aren't really any, man.
Like, the closest you can get is just when Foss promises Cinnabar to help. But 1, that doesn't have great development up to that scene. And 2, it's only like a quote unquote important relevant scene because it's been referenced so many times since, even though it doesn't feel like it's warranted. So it feels like into forced relevance and meaning. Other than that, I'm like, there's nothing that feels narratively impactful, nothing that feels like, wow, what an amazing character moment. What a great insight to these characters.
Yeah, there's
all the attempts at humor just feel wildly tonally inconsistent because they often happen immediately after more serious or intense moments, and they are not well written enough to smooth that gap between jarring tones.
Yeah, genuinely, Rem, like it without getting into the details of what actually happens in the back half of this anime, it's kind of hard to describe the way people connect, but considering I watched all of it in preparation for this episode, like I watched the first 4 episodes back in 2017 when it first aired, and I kind of just fell off of it after that because I couldn't quite get through it myself either. And then I rewatched everything this time around, and I was like, yeah, I can kind of see where people will find these connections to the show and like how it makes them self-reflect a little bit. And, you know, it's very pretty, especially for CG, but man, oh man, there's a reason that most of the recent reviews for the show aren't particularly high, but all of the reviews at the time of when the show first dropped skyrocketed in popularity.
I feel like a lot of it is just like, wow, pretty hair, and then they look at the screen and say, death, ain't that something?
You're not
like, wow.
wrong, unfortunately. And,
wow, how pretty, how deep.
And genuinely, this is a call to action. The people who listen to us and recommended this show, who genuinely have a strong feeling of connection to this show, please send us in what this show means to you and why.
Especially citing things from the first 5 episodes.
Yes, please. The first 5 episodes are so goddamn important because, God, like, I dropped it when I first watched it, man, back in 2017. And I'm not... Rem knows this pretty well about me. I'm the kind of stubborn asshole who, once he starts a show, he usually finishes it. I don't drop things very oftenly, even if I'm not having a good time.
Yeah.
So, like, I've read entire book series that I'm like, man, this book series fucking sucks. And then I finish it and I'm like, yeah, no, that really sucked. Oh, well. Donate the books later. I've done...
Yeah.
So the fact that I couldn't make it through 10 years ago doesn't really bode super well for the rest of things. And genuinely, it's hard to describe how people feel about the show without having you see the whole thing. But at the same time, if I made you watch the whole thing, I think you would have been angrier with. Like, even if your opinion of the show in the back half dramatically increased, you still would have been very angry because all you would be able to talk about is how the first 5 to 6 episodes are absolutely nothing and meaningless for the most part, aside from some loose world building and setting.
And hey, at least now weebs can get the thing they love the most, plausible deniability. They can firmly believe, hey, it is a good show. The reason Remington didn't like it was just because he didn't see enough of it.
I'm willing to revisit it as well. Like, if people want it badly enough, we can revisit it. Like, because I am curious to see how you'll react to the back half, because it is strange. I'll tell you that much.
I'd be amazed if it wraps its story up, but I guess it's not new, so is this the only season?
This is the only season.
Wow, that does surprise me, especially, was it canceled or does it get an end?
So it has a manga that I think the manga wrapped up in, let me double check.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that the anime sort of has an end, but it's not the end of the manga. The manga, like, kept going.
Yeah, the manga definitely keeps going. This season is only 36 chapters, give or take.
It's all the more baffling if you got one season. This is how you spent so much of it.
Also, in fairness, it was very experimental for the studio to really, like, go into the CG thing as well. And ultimately, it did, like, boost the manga sales quite a bit in terms of popularity. Like, so, yeah, the manga ran from 2012 all the way up to 2024.
I think I'd be even more baffled at the manga because I'm like...
Well, first, you can't read manga, so that's...
Well, first of all, I can't read manga. But second of all, I'm like, the writing is dog shit. And so if you removed the pretty gemstone element of it, which I imagine they do in the manga, I imagine it's just black and white.
I mean, yeah, it is a black and white manga.
And thus, I'm like...
Like, let me grab some manga panels so you can have an idea.
I cannot emphasize enough. The single best thing about this show by far is Shining. And I'm a sucker for Shining.
Okay, yeah, looking at some of these manga panels, there is some very, like, pretty design on some of these. But like here's one panel that's nice and pretty, but that kind of highlights like gem-like nature of the hair and such. But
I guess, but it feels like in black and white, it just feels like any slime. especially with Cinnabar, who has slime poison.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, so suffice it to say that like the thing that people really enjoy, the identity and existential dread stuff, apparently it gets more and more insane in the manga as it goes on. But after that first season, we haven't got a second season, and I don't think we're ever going to get a second season for it. It did pretty well for boosting manga sales. According to everybody's favorite source, Wikipedia, there's over 1.4 million copies of the manga in circulation, which is pretty big. But that by October 2017 at the very least. It hasn't really won any like major awards or anything, but it is decently popular for the time and had a long run. It went from 2012 all the way to the end of 2024 with 13 volumes. So clearly something is there, but not really in like this adaptation that only gets the first 30 chapters out of the way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but ladies and gentlemen, Pride Month, it's been a rough one.
Yeah, and this is the highest rated thing that we've covered this month as well.
Which is crazy because it is the worst.
Which is why I thought it would be an interesting way to end things.
Every other one was flawed, but it like kind of had something.
Yes.
Right? This one, I'm like, shiny.
Yeah, genuinely, Rem, this Pride Month was super hard to choose because we got a lot of recommendations for this. We got a lot of recommendations for a bunch of other queer-coded stuff. And I figured, after watching this and being interested by like the premise and the style and everything and how I dropped it years ago, I thought this would be a good way to end it, because watching it, I'm thinking, now, if I'm not really sold on this by the first 5 episodes, there's no way Remington will be, but I'm just curious to see to what extent it will be. But I genuinely have like dozens upon dozens of emails requesting this particular show, so finally did it. We're finally here, and yeah, that's just the unfortunate nature of things. But hey, we got every character's non-binary. Isn't that neat?
I guess. Look, I wasn't going to make it a big critique, but I mean, they do just fall into
gendered tropes,
anime girl, like vague anime girl stereotypes for the most part.
Yeah.
With the exception of the master, who then falls into stereotypical masculine master trope. So like you
can kind of tell like it's not purposely trying.
And
to
don't get me wrong, I'm not even saying that like non-binary. You can have very feminine or very masculine non-binary. It's just so. I don't think this is like a meaningful example of representation. I think it just kind of like happens to be. But I think that for the most part, it's conceived as a like look at the cute gem girls, but it's just like cute. Look at the cute gem thems now.
I mean, that's better than nothing.
It is better than literally nothing. It's not anywhere close to one of my more substantial critiques of the show, which is why I didn't bring it up earlier. But it is somewhat worth noting. I think the fact that it's.
Look, I wanted something a little bit gender weird for Pride Month, and this was a good way to cap it off because of how many times people have requested it. Some people requesting it during Pride Month specifically, which, hey, that works.
Yeah. Hey, and I'll tell you what, I'll remember that it's shiny. People will be like, Land of the Lustrous, and I'll be like, what? And they'll be like, the shiny gemstones. I'm like, oh yeah, the poorly written one. Yeah. But it was pretty.
Hey man, maybe we'll get that response of people telling us exactly what makes this show so great and beloved to them. And then it'll be a good reason to revisit it, watch the final 7 episodes, and then you can fully solidify your opinion, probably not having changed much of anything, because honestly, I think your opinion might improve about that much. Just the small smidgen.
One day we'll get the fabled show that changes my opinion significantly for the better. We've had the inverse, unfortunately, a couple times. The vast majority of the time it ends up in the same ballpark. We've almost gotten one that changed my mind for the better, but then it fumbled the bag, and I don't think we've had any that came close since.
Yeah, look, man, it's hard writing good stories. It's even harder to change Remington's mind.
I disagree with that. I think it's very easy to change my mind or at least that I'm very willing to change my mind. I suppose, let me clarify. I think it may be difficult to change my mind only because I am mindful in how I shape my opinions. And so, to change my mind, you must meaningfully contest or disprove the foundations for those opinions, right? And that is a more difficult task, but I am more than open to the possibility. If I'm watching something and it starts out trash, but then like later on does become transcendently good, I'll be like, well, shit, I didn't think it was likely, but it fucking won me over. And like, I've had that experience kind of with like some movies that I've watched where like in the front half, I'm like, I don't know. But then like in the second half, I fall into rhythm. I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, actually, yeah, I was thinking nah, but actually now I'm thinking.
I mean, that was us with Hereditary until the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, we did like that one was like, oh man, I don't think this is good. Wait, it's genius and amazing. Oh no, I don't think it's that good.
That's like the most iconic example I can think of between you and me. But yeah, genuinely, like I think there's something there, but it wasn't enough to make me feel anything, which sucks, dude. But yeah, 8.39, 200,000 ratings. Very wildly beloved show. Might be worth rewatching without the rose-colored glasses to make sure that you do have the same strong opinions that you do as you first watched it 10 years ago. That's worth doing. As for Steven Universe, I don't fucking know, man. I hear people like that show quite a bit, and honestly, hilariously, if I was able to end this with Steven Universe, I think it would have been hilarious because, according to a lot of people, great representation.
I have vaguely heard that Steven Universe also takes a while.
Oh yeah, it takes over a full season, I looked into.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But it's also a kid's show that the episodes are 15 minutes apiece.
Which helps. And I also, look, I'm going to say it, if we look at character designs, Steven Universe absolutely bodies Land of the Lustrous. Land of the Lustrous has neat, shiny hair and whatnot. Steven Universe actually has unique character designs. And I can appreciate it for the most part, Land of the Lustrous, look, you've seen these character designs before is all I'm going to say, all right?
But they're so shiny, though.
They're shiny versions, right? They're shiny versions of the same designs you've seen before. It's like when a game, after you complete it, lets you unlock a golden skin, and you're like, ooh, now it's the same, but now it's shiny. It's like that, all right? The designs aren't particularly compelling, but they're neat and shiny.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, I guess the final question I do need to ask you, Rem, any chance you want to finish off Land of the Lustrous, give it another chance?
I cannot emphasize how even if you were like, no, it's going to start focusing on the characters, the relationships, the existential themes, etc., etc.
It does a little.
Given the quality of the writing, I'm like, I don't know if it focusing on those things would be a meaningful improvement. Like, its focus would move in the right direction, but the quality of writing I have no reason to believe would change. The quality of writing is actively bad to such a degree. So, like, okay, it'd be nice if they're pointing the camera in the right direction, but it could improve structurally. I don't think it could improve with writing.
Yeah, 30 chapters out of a 13-volume manga.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can do it. There is something, though. I will say there is something, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Rem being absolutely whiplashed by the the popularity of this show and how beloved it is compared to his experience, which is just the premise of our podcast, now that about it.
Yeah.
Please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. One day, Remington will play a video game with me again. It'll be nice. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who we thinking this?
Well, as always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are poisoning us, shattering us, melting us, shattering us, emotionally hurting us, and shattering us. But don't worry, because ultimately we're fine. And on that list we have Yeti has nothing to say boost your relationship to continue. Yandere Neko, Wolfire 56. What does Goon got to do with it? Wes Kane, week 50 of using my Patreon name to request code Geese. We need a separate podcast just to hear Remington's terrible movie opinions. Watching Requiem for Spoon Man at 0.5 speed. Variant, Titan CNH. This week's identity pitch, cute drunk lesbian, please show Rem the gay girls drinking alcohol anime from this season. The wheel is rolling towards a Mirai Nikki revisit. The Susanator, the Danish Viking will conquer the world with Zoro as my navigator. Turpin, Tech Turtle, Super Zoo, Supper M currently in the Magic School Bus, all shrunken it down style with the Huz Frizz about to go in that ass. Any Rex, I'm new down here. You're new in the ass?
I mean,
just
lubrication?
Communication. The big two.
Lubrication and communication.
With lubrication and communication, you can do anything, my child.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot to think about.
Strife is off backpacking in Alaska. She will return via Cosmic Staircase Inc. in a month. See, we've learned a little bit of lore. It's a company. They have to buy the Cosmic Staircases?
Oh, God. Capitalism ruins everything, man.
Late stage capitalism. I have to imagine that it used to just be, a tried and true tradition where it was just like, oh yeah, we're using the communal Cosmic Staircase that's just like everyone's allowed to use. But then a company was like, no, we can milk this. Stacy's mom, Sparcy. Shaun, please put Rem in the jar. I'm getting bored of Judy. Shaun wants to give Spoon Man a thank you. Shaun ruined my Sugar Life on each side instead of ruining Pride Month this year to celebrate it by coming out as a map. Shaun, show Remington code Geese or I will start leaking entries in your red pill infused diary every week you cuck. Shaun, Red Pill, Milf Hunter, Docubakra, 11 Rollins, Seraphim the Shark Plushie, sentenced to be a podcast host, Ryan Moody, Rem in the World Cup, Remington is right, Remington and Shaun are my favorite closeted Mormon couple, Rem are in hi, Anime Con Pod, Hajimaru yo, Rem, what do you think of Magic the Gathering? Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem is the Anthony Fantano of anime podcasters.
I don't even know what that means.
I will say it can mean a lot of things, but given why he's currently in the zeitgeist, it doesn't mean great things, but hey, at the same time, look, it's not like Reki is ever gonna listen to the fucking podcast, y'all. It's not like
what? Oh, God, I'm so confused.
So it's fine. And also, I would stand by the foundations of any of my opinions, not necessarily anything I've said on the podcast. I occasionally say some out-of-pocket shit, which I think in context can be acceptable, but also, like, look, let's face it, we have over 400 episodes of the podcast. We can be taken out of context plenty.
I mean, it's in the name.
Yeah. Let's see. Rem is really good at doing the patron reads, and we don't praise him enough for that. Shaun's kind of bad, and Dylan's just okay.
Wow.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well, now I don't ever want to do them again. Now that people think I'm bad.
Well, you're only kind of bad, and that means that there's room for improvement, and you can grow and become the best you that you can be. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Red Pill Rollins calling trans Shaun slurs for pride.
I love how I am getting multiple personas.
Red Pill Rollins versus the Hell Band in a basketball 1v1 win. Professor Fox, pro tips out of context, just run out of things to post. Pride Month stole patron letters, call that Alphabet Mafia. No, Miska is not wearing a hat, that's Traffic Cone, the Scottish soccer team put on my head. Noctua. Mao wants to thank you all for being awesome. Macaroni Cheesa, Lucky Stars the King of Moe. Little Bitch Boy Remington says what? What? Link Joe Curl, likes bikes, Linder98, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jax, Jam Hands, Jake Dent. I'm almost in my third trimester. Is Shaun single due to micro appendage? Is Shaun gender fluid clownfish that is trying to become the dominant male? I, Remington, really want to watch more Sword Art. I want a Marvel movie starring Shaun as Spider-Man and Remington as Big Wheel. I don't think Mr. Chaser should host Pride Month. I can't believe I made a count for this. Help! Have you guys watched interview with the vampire? Yeah, it's fine. I don't think it's like particularly remarkable in any way, but it's fine. If you want horny vampires, like who am I?
Is there any other kind of vampire?
To say no. Theoretically, many people wouldn't interpret Nosferatu as very.
Have you talked to our editor?
Oh, Count Orlok. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, my God. Look at that fucking shadow. Oh, cast that shadow upon
His favorite
me.
episode of SpongeBob is when he makes a cameo.
Which, in hindsight, crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
Like
thing. Just
when we were kids, No.
Who was doing it the whole time? Nosferatu. And it's like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
like that.
Huh?
I never got it as a kid. It took
No, why would we?
like I had to become a full ass adult before I was like, oh, that's First of all, still a great joke.
It's a good joke now, knowing it. It's crazy. I didn't get it then. More anime needs shit like that. Just references to 1920s cinema. Have you considered arson? Griping. G-Bottom AK Bear Chop Rem trade. For DM me Shaun's address and I will go kick him in the nuts. One per bad anime you've seen. He'd die. He would die. He'd be a dead man. Fern the Fern. Farm Weeb wonders if writing Table Chan down the cosmic staircase make Code Goose Pride Month material. Excuse me, that lolly is at least 500 years old, Shaun. Erica McCorkle. Dylan's voice makes me come. Daniel Wright. Daddy Rum, tell me bedtime story about Shaun's nut. Calderius. Gripped update. We got distracted 3 hours. 0 out of 61 achievements. Code Goose Patreon Rebellion 6 months early. Chuck Burnett. Remington should show Shaun the classic 2010 Bollywood Terminator for April Fools. Enthran. Cheese Monkey. Brock Hartford for you dudes. Just show him Code Geese, man. Bounced on my RPG's dick to this week's Bad Pride anime for hours.
Wow.
that's
a lot to unpack.
Blarf, Bendokato, anime slimes. Amazing Muffin. Also, my title regarding Shaun's Erica Kirk documentary was read out loud on a dividend investing Patreon channel.
Oh no!
They're just sharing financial advice, right? Look, all right. So obviously the proper investment is that. Anyway, we'd like to thank our patrons, such as Shaun's Erica Kirk documakara. So
that I'm in hell. This is my hell.
Blarf, Bentokato, anime slime. Oh wait, no, we did that. Aishiguchi, a grimoire that makes you last longer by 6.7%. Now we move on to the Way Wizard tier. What are they going to get this week, Shaun?
Gems, obviously.
Hell yeah! On that list we have Umbrasite.
They can have Adamite.
Trucknoon Operator number 42.
Agrolite.
Triangle Warlock.
Algandonite.
Wheel of God keeps turning.
Halonite.
That Mouse Girl.
Apatite.
Sporadic Silver.
How about Benitoite?
Sound Secondary.
Barrel.
Sammy K is here to remind you of the secret third option.
Aquamarine.
Roscoe.
Golden Barrel.
Rem, what is your opinion on Iron Lung?
Biotite.
Rem is now Fooly and or Cooley.
Bulletite.
Power Cells WWE question of the month. Who's your favorite commentator, guest, or otherwise? My answer, good old JR with Booker T as a close up.
Brazilianite.
Miguel Delion.
Calcite.
Geo can't come to the phone right now. You know what to do.
Celestite.
Domini Trigun, it will red pill even Rem.
Chondrotite.
Carver 271.
Alexandrite.
Big Rare Kumiko thinks Hyoka will make Rem say Watashi Kiri Narimasu.
Cinnabar.
Beethoven 1201.
Colamanite.
Umtums.
Cryolite.
And Allfather 413.
Diamond.
Now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun he's gonna give you a kids show from our childhoods, and I will throw a random figure from 1920 cinema into it.
Do you know many 1920s cinema characters?
We're gonna find out.
Okay.
We're sure as shit gonna find out.
All right.
On this list we have Shaun Goon, too close to the sun, and now he's fighting a war to save the People's Princess Rem.
Yeah. Your show can be. Let's go with Chowder for a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, what we're gonna do? We are going to replace Rada fucker with Cesare from Caligari.
Does he still only say Rada Rada?
Yeah, but he says it like a little freak.
I think that character's name, what was it? It was like Stillskin? No, not, or, fuck, what was his name?
All I know is he goes Rada.
Schnitzel! Schnitzel was his name.
Okay, sure, yeah, that makes sense. I was cooking chicken with no pants because my pants were dirty and I accidentally dropped one on the floor and it hit my penis.
Yeah. You can have, Ed, and Ned.
And what you are gonna get is, I'm thinking of bitches from the 30s, and that won't do at all. What you are gonna get is, in Ed, and Eddie, we're going to get the surrealist sliced eyeball from Unshan Andalus.
Just there? Is it hanging out in Rolf's backyard? Is that what's going on?
I think it is replacing the sun.
Oh. Oh,
And
that's
you
very
just have
Kafka. That's
an eyeball that's about to be sliced, and then nobody can look at it as it's being sliced. You know? Then we got follow animated context on Blue Sky for week 58 of Requesting Code Goose. Email lubrication and communication. The gmail.com to play about. And then just rehash whatever we talked about last week.
yeah, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
And Courage, the absolute freak that he's going to be handling that week is just the battleship Potemkin. And he's gonna have to deal with like montage theory, and so he's gonna have like incoherent timelines just jumbled, chopped up together, and Courage has to figure that out.
That just sounds like a normal Courage the Cowardly Dog episode.
It could be. You could, if you were like, yeah, and you remember that episode of Courage where he fights a spooky battleship that destroys linear time, and it cuts from scene to scene, and Courage has to figure out how to go from like a montage back into a more coherent timeline, and you'd be like, yeah, and it wouldn't even be the weirdest episode of Courage.
People were still traumatized by King Ramses, so you know.
Yes, am.
Still are, yeah.
And last but not least, we have Azure Lane Akagi is best ship girl.
Yeah. You can have Johnny Bravo. There's a fun one.
And you know who Johnny Bravo is gonna try to seduce? He is gonna try to seduce Joan of Arc. One of the most notable 20s films is The Passion of Joan of Arc.
Okay. So
and thus
Joan of Arc as represented in that film.
Yep. Hopefully of age, though unfortunately unlikely because, you know, Joan of Arc is Joan of Arc. And I'm gonna love with you. I think once he learned about the age, Johnny Bravo would say no, but he would shoot his shot before asking because he's a bit of a fool.
He is a bit of a dummy.
He would shoot his shot, then it would become clear that they're too young, and then he would skedaddle and be like, oh no.
Yeah, no, because I mean, he may be a meathead.
He's in the same category of an Austin Powers.
Very much so.
Where horny as hell and not super bright, but you know.
You remember the trans Johnny Bravo episode?
I don't remember the trans.
There is one where he gets fully gender swapped into a woman. Yeah. I wonder if that awoke a lot of things in people.
Oh my god. Well, thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can send an email over to AnimEighties@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck. With lubrication and communication, you can do it, my child.